Hi, everybody. Okay, so you guys know I love doing these. It's always so fun for me. And hopefully, I'm going to be able to cut in better screenshots of the cards and whatnot for you here. I'm upping my video making game, so good for you. You guys, hopefully. All right. Let's jump into this. This is a winter solstice reading. This is the energies that I'm picking up on, that Spirit wants me to share with you. This is all about giving you guidance, giving you tools. It's not meant to scare you or worry you. We need to always be mindful that the energy that we put into something is the energy that we are drawing into it, right? So if you hear what I have to say and it doesn't sit well with you or it makes you uneasy, it's really important that you understand you're going to direct more negative results and outcomes and situations for yourself if you're in that fear state. So, Spirit always works with me. I'm sure probably some other readers too, but always works with me in such a way that I get information about how we actually work with this, how we actually use this to our advantage, how we can create ease, how we can minimize whatever sort of difficulties are going on. And part of why I'm starting this off with this is because um, there's a really big overarching theme here, and I just got chills. Um, this, as those of you that know, that watch my stuff, hopefully, you know and understand that I do these at solstices and equinoxes, and so it's kind of like a 3-month forecast. So this is going to be around essentially what's happening from now until the middle of March, right? Until almost the end of March. And so the next 3 months, this theme that's in here is there's a lot of cards in here around sort of chaos, upheaval, turmoil. But remember, some of this. Sorry, I was going to say something and they kind of held my tongue. This is largely about what's happening outside of us. It's no surprise. I mean, you don't gotta be a fucking psychic to understand or know that, there's a lot of chaos in the world right now, particularly those of us that are in here in the United States. And maybe other places think they're in a lot of chaos too. I don't know. But certainly we do here. Let me just start by showing. So the first things that I pulled, let's see how these come out. Oh, good. Good. They don't come out backwards. This card, there, I had a glare there. So this first card is, I asked about the overall arching energy for this entire 3-month period. And then I asked around this one about how do we work with the energy. So this first card, sorry, like I said, I got that glare. It says calm within. And I do want to mention, again, if you watch me and you know, then you'll know that I do this sacred geometry oracle deck when I do these months. And also, you'll know that I don't actually need the decks. I'm able to communicate and connect with spirit and spirits without oracle cards, but I do like using them. It's a lot of fun, and sometimes I feel like it with certain people, or in this kind of situation, sometimes it's helpful for people to have that tangible thing to hold on to and view, right? So again, just to jump back to this. So this is sorry. I'm figuring out this camera. This card is Calm Within. It's upside down. As I kind of mentioned, that means that the overall arching theme for these 3 months is going to feel like a lot of chaos and upheaval. Certainly, what Spirit is saying to me is that remember that it can stay outside of us. It doesn't have to be internal. And if you are experiencing internal, or there comes to be a place where you're having some real internal upheaval, chaos, remember that also is transition. It's about being able to know that all of these things are temporary, and to, again, they're saying to me again, like, don't allow the outside energies, the outside circumstances, global collective energy circumstances to influence you, even if there is internal upheaval for you. And part of why I'm saying about the internal upheaval is because when I asked what is the thing that we need to keep in mind when working with the energy for the 3 months, I got this transmutation card. And this transmutation card is really powerful. It has like this super strong energy about it. It means like dramatic change. Again, I am not an astrologer, but I've certainly heard a lot of astrologers. Certainly it's something that I've been getting for a couple years now. There's a lot of us that are in tune that are saying we are going through a ginormous collective shift, and there's going to be some really powerful changes, they make me feel like, that are happening in the next 3 months. That's where this transmutation, but remember, sometimes that transmutation, some of that powerful change comes from things falling down, and there's that upheaval creates that sense of confusion and chaos. But if we keep our eyes on the fact that this is going to bring about the most beautiful, powerful, delightful, dramatic change, a change that will benefit all of us. So if you can keep in perspective over the next 3 months that whatever this confusion, upheaval, internal and external, that you are witnessing, experiencing, feeling, if you can remember that that is simply a sort of a byproduct of change, great transmutation, great shifting in, I mean, it's just the most dynamic change. It's this really powerful experience. And also there's a whole element around this card about remembering that timelines are not linear. Remembering that it's exactly what I was saying, like that your thought processes and your energies are going to shift and create what is to come, what these outcomes are, what the experiences that will come up. So be mindful of your own ability and power. There's really this big calling back of that in all of this. And again, I feel a little bit like a broken record, because if you saw like the messages that I've been getting recently, they're all really tied into this idea of reclamation and restoration. It's about reclaiming and restoring our own sense of authority within ourselves, our own creative, positive power, not the human ego-driven power that we're witnessing in the world. In fact, that's so much of what is crumbling away. So just remember that there can be really dynamic change that is so positive and so good and so beneficial that can really start to take place in these next 3 months, both in your own world and in the collective. It just might look a little bit like chaos, confusion, upheaval, but it doesn't have to. Just shift your eyes in a different direction. Don't let yourself fall into those fearful energies, okay? Um, the next three, I asked 3 cards I pulled, and it was all about working with the energy, what we need to be keeping an eye on. So this first one, oops, I got my hand over it. It's the yin and yang energy. And in this card, what I was really asking about was like I said, I was asking about if the transmutation card is where we're supposed to kind of keep our mental vision. This is about where do we need to be putting our actions, where we're doing the physical to manage these next 3 months. And so it's again coming from this place of understanding that owl, raven, yin, yang is all about bringing balance. It's all about understanding that there is a lightness and a darkness. There is a time for action and a time for rest. There is giving and receiving, right? It's the message here is that the best way that we can physically work through these next 3 months and the energies that are going to be coming up, the way that we leverage them to help us is to be in this space of being really mindful of creating a sense of balance. It's interesting. They're also saying to me, it's also about us taking account of where we may be out of balance in our own lives, energy-wise, focus-wise, any of those things. So it becomes about where do you need to be mindful that you've maybe gotten out of balance and need to be shifting things, bringing a sense of balance. Also remember that when we create a sense of balance both internally and externally, it's going to help you feel more grounded and stable. So really trying to look at where am I out of balance and look at where you can create balance, being mindful when you are maybe feeling kind of topsy-turvy about how do I help myself feel balanced right here, right now. The next card, like I said, these other 2 cards were really just further explanation cards. I was asking again what it is that we can be doing to stay in a positive vein, to stay on course with positive outcomes and situations and experiences for ourselves over the next 3 months. This particular card, this card here came out reversed. In this deck, some have a reverse meaning, some do not. This one does. This reverse meaning means that there's to be mindful that there is a lot of different facets and sides to everything, okay? So, I mean, this is pretty much always good information and guidance for us, but be mindful that, nothing's ever black and white or cut and dry, right? That there are lots of different sides to things, and when we allow ourselves to be too myopic or too focused with blinders on only one version in perspective, that it does not serve us. So even though this card doesn't reflect it, Spirit's saying to me now, this is really about a reminder for us to be keeping open heart, open mind as we hold our own experiences. They're also saying to me to be really mindful about not being too attached to things, to not be too attached to outcomes, not to be too attached to how things actually look or go for you. Okay? And then this one also came out reversed. Also came out reversed. And this is Leonardo's virtuous man, is what it says on the card. What this is also really is about divinity of humankind, is kind of like the subtext of that. And so it's again all about this experience of having a feeling of, I hate to use chaos, but a lot of imperfection being around us, maybe being, it's heightened in the relationships. It's maybe heightened, they're saying to me, in ourselves, feeling like we are so flawed, and that these viewpoints that we have are chosen ones. So you get to decide. You get to, again, really tied into and playing off of the card, the previous card, it goes Hedron. I don't even know how you say it. Really playing off of this card where they're asking us to, keep that open heart, keep that open mind, and be in a place where we can allow ourselves to see other possibilities, see other versions of what you're experiencing, see other versions of the people that you're encountering or that you're having a relationship, their points of view, right? So it's really just kind of double backing to the same thing. This is the best way that we're going to be able to navigate through these next 3 months, is really focusing on that. So then the last 3 cards that I chose are one for each month, like kind of the overarching energy for each month in a smaller chunk down version rather than the bigger theme. So this is really the theme here for January. As we move into January, and for the month of January, this card is actually called Morning Meeting. You can see the square, but you also see the circle there. Square, circle. But this card's really all about communication. That square and circle I point out, they say to point out too, because it, again, kind of coupling with the yin and yang energy, but it's about masculine and feminine. So we really want to be making sure in January that we are keeping lines of communication open and clear. Certainly going back into that whole piece around open heart and open mind, being mindful of the ways in which we're communicating, making sure you're really communicating clearly. Maybe communication is hard for you, and that can look all different kinds of ways. But particularly when we're in a situation where there may be a lot of unsettledness outwardly, being really good at being able to communicate what we need, what we're thinking, what our expectations are, again, however that might look, in whatever kind of dynamic or relationship that might look like, whether it's work or personal and what have you, it's going to be really important to be mindful of that in January, be mindful that other people might not communicate so clearly. Don't jump to be short with them or frustrated with them or have any kind of issue with them as they continue to move in a space where um, that's creating an issue. Okay, don't be quick to judge them. So that is the card for January. February's card is this one. It's a Taurus, it says. It's funny because when I check the definition, because I don't work with this deck a lot, so I don't know it a whole lot. But when I looked at the definition, it brought up about 7 energies and 7 forms, and so I've been getting a lot of that all along. For the last few months on my own stuff, and you're going to start to see that come out in different things that I'm offering and working with and doing. But this card is all about the natural magnetic energy of you and also of the earth. It's all about, in February, being mindful of, again, when you might be feeling unstable, you might be feeling uncertain. It's about taking time to ground and be mindful. Allow, they're saying to me, sort of Mother Nature's, Mother Earth's energy to love you, to nurture you, to give you support and stabilization. So if you're finding February to be a difficult month, do some grounding practices, some earthing practices. Get in touch with nature as much as you can to help your own. We talk about this from a somatic standpoint, your nervous system, but also it is your energetic field. So when your energetic field is feeling really mixed up and like chaotic or unstable, unsteady, allow yourself to tune into that energy of nature and allow that to be something that can help sort of settle your nervous system, settle your energetic field, and give you that sense of stability. It's also, like I said, I don't think this wasn't in the card description, but they're saying to me, February, be really mindful of your own magnetic energy. Be mindful that what your thoughts are, where your energy is. I mean, this is true all the time, but for whatever reason, there must be certain things that are going to be popping up or popping off in February that they're just saying, like, your piece of advice to remember from the month is just to be really in tune and really aware of the naturally occurring magnetic energies, and that includes your own divine magnetic energy. So remember that sometimes we're really mindful about if our energy gets off in what we might be calling, and that's bad for us. We don't put enough focus, they're saying, on our divine natural energy of who we are that we always have. And Abraham Hicks always says this, and it's like my favorite analogy because it makes a ton of sense. It's like our natural energy, our natural vibration and frequency is like a piece of cork. And if you want to hold that cork underwater, which is what most of us do all the time, creating resistance, that's great. But remember that if you let go and you let it just, be natural and are not trying to control it, that it will immediately buoy straight up. And so that is our divine energy. That is our divine nature. So when we're not too caught up in trying to control or manipulate or maneuver or any of the other things, all the doing things that we think we need to be doing, when we can just kind of let something go, when we can relax, our own divine energy, our own divine nature is going to pull in better outcomes. It's going to be easier. So, the message for February is all about tapping into that natural magnetic energy that we are, that our field is, that Earth is, all that. And then the card for March is actually, it says Sacred Union, but it is reversed. And so this is about relationship. Again, it doesn't have to be romantic relationship. This can be your relationship to yourself. The reverse position for it certainly is indicating that we have gotten off balance, that we've forgotten about the sacred unions. Me being me and my work, and of course the way that spirit works with me, they're saying, so much of this is about us needing to remember and put focus and energy into the sacred union of who we are, who our soul is, in connection to divine source. And that is a sacred union. It is one that can never be separated other than through your own idea of separation, okay? And so it might be calling you to put focus and energy around that for the month of March, or there may be coming in circumstances that are going to really kind of test that union that you have, and we're getting the guidance ahead of time to just be mindful, just be focused, know that is a real sacred union. If this might apply to you in terms of actual relationships, again, it kind of goes back to that communication card as well. And remember, when I use the term relationship, I'm not talking about romantic relationship necessarily. This can be work relationship. This can be, this could be your own clients and customers. This could be your employees. This could be coworkers, a boss. It could also be family, friends. It doesn't matter. Be mindful of the fact that sometimes we can get so caught up in viewing and judging other people's behaviors that we forget that there is light in that person, that there is light in this relationship, that it is meant to bless us, enrich us, give us something. It's very much this reversed nature of this, the fact that this card came up in reversed form is just highlighting that we may be finding ourselves in this last month of the quarter, leading into spring equinox, that it has relationships that we have held dear or important. It's not saying that they're falling away. It's just saying we might be hitting some rough patches. And so be mindful, and also, I'm going back to the earlier. Keep that open heart. Keep that open mind. Know that there's good in the other person. Their intentions may not be harmful. We might be frustrated with them. Just know that it's important. The relationship is important. It's serving a purpose. It's meant for your highest and best good. So offering forgiveness, offering space to that person. And like I said, maybe that's to yourself. Maybe that's to your relationship with spirit and your own divine nature. All right, everybody. I hope this was really helpful to you. Feel free to come back, watch it all the time. Make sure you share it with anybody that you think is going to need it. And of course, comment. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, how this rings true, even if, like I said, you come back and watch it over the months, at the end of January, and drop a comment. Let me know how that's working out for you. And of course, subscribe so that you always know whenever I have new videos out. All right, everybody. Thanks so much.